Yes, guys. I will now start my video of Christ Church Parish Church. Now, this is Christ Church Parish Church at Churchill Christ Church, which is just above Oysterstown. Yes, guys. Christ Church Parish Church was established 1620. It was destroyed several times. It was at several locations. The first location was in Dover, Christ Church, which is further down on the south coast as well, in the same parish here in Christ Church. It was at Dover. Then it was destroyed by the hurricane, and then it was rebuilt again and destroyed several times. But the last time it was destroyed by fire in 1935, and it was rebuilt. It wasn't fully destroyed because this building is older than 86 years, but it was rebuilt in 1935. It wasn't fully destroyed, but it was rebuilt. Yes, this is Christ Church Parish Church, which is known for the famous chase vault. Again, this is a frame, an old frame of the church here, showing the older photo of the church. Another frame here again, and here is a frame showing the brief history of Christ Church Parish Church. Yes, guys, I was correct. It was built in 1629, close to Dover, on the coast of Dover. It was a wooden structure. It was destroyed by a flood in 1669 and was washed into the sea. There are still 4 burial vaults dating back to 1672 remaining on the site of the first churchyard. The second church was built. The second church was a more secure location. The second church was built on the present site, this site here, overlooking Oysterstown, with a seating capacity for 300 persons. It was destroyed completely by the hurricane of 1780. Sometime after 1786, a third church was built on this site, but it suffered a similar fate to the second church building and was destroyed by the hurricane of 1831. 6 other churches in the island were also severely damaged by this hurricane. The communion plate, velvet clothing, and the font were the only items saved. Church services were held in the homes of various parishioners until permission was granted by the Commissioner of Fortifications for the use of Oysterstown Fort, where a chapel was prepared for public worship. The fourth church. The cornerstone of the fourth church was laid by the bishop of the diocese on the 1st of October, 1835, and the new church was consecrated on the 4th of July, 1837, by Bishop Coleridge. On the western gallery of the church was engraved a sign which read, "Rebuilt and enlarged, MDCCC XXXVI." Then that's Roman numerals. Plans were being formulated for the first celebration of the 100th anniversary of that building on the 1st of October 1935, when tragedy struck once more on Saturday the 2nd of March 1935, and the church was destroyed once again, this time by fire. Very little fabric was saved. Most of the records suffered the water damage, but the sacred vessels, vestments, and altar and linen were saved from the vestry. The only thing saved in the nave of the church was a marble memorial tablet erected by John Randall Phillips, ESQ, which can still be seen on the northeastern wall of the nave by the pulpit. It was repositioned there to make room for the Station of the Cross. This tablet and 2 brass standards are the only remaining relics of the fourth church. The fifth church. 3 of the walls from the burnt church, as well as the tower, retain in this present church. The foundation stone for the new church was laid by the Lord Bishop on October 1st, 1935, and can be seen on the outside of the building on the northeastern side of the church. There is also a bronze inscription plate in the wooden paneling of the northeastern end of the sanctuary, as near possible to the spot where it was found during the excavation, marking the laying of the cornerstone of the fourth church exactly 100 years previously. That is the history of Christ Church Parish Church. And here is a frame giving a history of all the priests who served Christ Church Parish Church from 1642 to present. And here's a plaque unveiled by Canon Malcolm Maxwell, who was also one of the former priests here, who is now deceased. And he was also Archdeacon of Barbados, and he's the father of the present bishop, Bishop Maxwell. Here's a sketch of the church vault. Another history of the church vault. That's nice. Christ Church Parish Church is known for its famous church vault with moving coffins. Coffins tend to move about within the grave. Okay, this coffin was built, this church vault was built, I think, in 16 something or 17 something. Can't remember. I'll have to go back and check the history. Okay, this is the church vault here for the church family, where coffins tend to move about within the grave. This can be best referred to as the church by some person because of the church vault. Some say it's a myth and some say it's a true story. But research said it was a true story that coffins tend to move about within this vault here. Some people actually go in the vault and see. I would not be going in there. I think the gate is locked. It has a lock on it. These are the steps to go into the vault. Some people say that the coffins tend to move about within the vault. So when they put it to lay down, when they come back, the coffins are up or in a different position. Yes, I even heard a story about they heard a rumbling in the vault as well. There's a similar vault to this in the Vault Road, Welshman Hall, St. Thomas, which is the homes to the Williams family from Welshman Hall Plantation, St. Thomas. And they say that coffins tend to move about within that vault as well. So 2 vaults with spooky activity. This is the church here again, a side view. And in this churchyard will be the final resting place of one of the Prime Minister. I think he was the 3rd Prime Minister who succeeded Tom Adams. His name is Sir Howard St. John. He's known to many Barbadians as Bree St. John. He's also interred in this churchyard. And you can see the coastline from Oistins from here. Oistins is just below Christ Church Parish Church, so you can see all Miami Beach and Oistins Bay from here. This is the grave site, the tomb for Sir Howard St. John, the one with the big tombstone, the tomb head, the tombstone here, that is his grave. And this is Christ Church Parish Church yard. And this is the Ivan Herbert Center, which is the church center for Christ Church Parish Church. Yes, guys, a brief history of the church vault. You can read it for yourself and see the history of the church vault. And this is a sketch as I showed you just now. And this is the western end of the cemetery of Christ Church Parish Church. And this is the center where the kids send the school classes. And this is the side profile of Christ Church Parish Church. And this is the cemetery here, and the cemetery beyond to the back is the church. It's a separate cemetery which is not belonging to the church, but it's on the church property. It is owned by the government, and that is Christ Church Cemetery. Okay, this is the church out here belonging to the church, and the one to the back is the Christ Church Cemetery. And you can see all behind Church Hill development from here. That's Christ Church Cemetery. Christ Church Parish Church. Christ Church Parish Church is in the southern parish of Christ Church in Barbados. just above the town of Oistins, and right next door to the Christ Church Foundation Secondary School. This is Barbados' oldest, one of the oldest and top secondary schools in Barbados. That's another update of Christ Church Parish Church. This is just above Oistins town in Christ Church. Oistins is a small town and a fishing town. Mainly pertains to fish, and it is just below Christ Church Parish Church. This is the hall, the center where they keep Sunday school classes. This is the church hall. They hold other functions in here as well. And here's a stone again, saying the completion and extension of the Christ Church Parish Church Center was dedicated and commissioned by His Grace, the Most Reverend Dr. John W. D. Holder, who was the Bishop of Barbados and the Archbishop of the West Indies, on Sunday, October 7, 2012, and officially opened by Canon Austin Carrington, who was director of Christ Church Parish Church, on a site that has served the community through religion, education, recreation, and social action. Plaque unveiled by Mr. Christian Best and Mr. L. Reynolds Basha. To God be the glory. That's guys. Christ Church Parish Church. You can see the Abida by Accra Hotel, which is right next door to Miami Beach on the south coast. And this is the facade of Christ Church Parish Church. And this is the Ivan Hayward Center. This is the church center, the church hall. And this is all Church Hill. And right next door is the foundation school. And again, this is the church hall, the church center. They keep functions in here and church activities in here. This is the Christ Church Parish Church Hall and Center, where you will find the Diocesan Secretariat office up the stairs here. As you can see, Oistins Bay from here as well. Here's another plaque saying Christ Church Parish Church was dedicated and commissioned. The church center was dedicated and commissioned by the Right Reverend Dr. John W. D. Holder, who was the Bishop of Barbados, opened on the 9th of December 2000 by Canon Ivan Hayward, who was the rector here for 17 years, 1984 to 2001, on a site which has served this nation through education, recreation, and social action. The Boys Foundation School, 1809 to 1957, Christ Church High School, 1957 to 1992, and the Jones Private School, 1993 to 1996. The plaque was unveiled by Mr. Alvin Howell, Justice of the Peace, and Miss Regina Best. That's great. And next door is the Christ Church Foundation Secondary School, which is one of Barbados' top and older secondary schools. Christ Church Foundation Secondary School. Here, this is the gate. You can see the basketball court, and this is the Christ Church Center, and the church hall, and the church. And this is all Church Hill Road here. And this is the track. This is the road that leads back to Oistins Hill, Gall Hill, Lodge Road, and Newton. And this is all Christ Church Foundation Schoolyard. I will end the video here. Thank you guys for watching, and have a blessed evening.